Thank you very much, Seth, for joining us once again. So this is the second part of our interview series for our conference this year. And today we have here Mr. Rui Duarte Barros, the former
Prime Minister
yes, I want to get the right word here.
Guinea-Bissau.
Yeah. Exactly. And we are very honored to have you here, sir. Thank you very much for joining us. And my name is Michael, and I'm Ghanaian, and it's an honor to meet you. And I'd like my colleague also introduce himself quickly.
I am half Brazilian, half Portuguese, but I was born in Brazil, and I was there for a long time. So yeah, and I'm really interested about the relations of the Brazilian community, which is the biggest country outside Africa to have the biggest African population, right? Yeah.
So we just want you to quickly introduce yourself to the wider audience, to those who are meeting you for the first time, to get to know you and what your work entailed briefly whilst working, representing your beloved country.
Yeah, thank you. I'm very happy to be here. I'm a former Prime Minister of Guinea-Bissau who has been working in some international and regional organizations in West Africa, like UEMOA. Do you know UEMOA? UEMOA is a regional organization.
It's the Western.
A monetary union, economic union based in Ouagadougou, Burkina Faso. I have been there for 8 years as in this organization for finance, and I'm a politician. We will have the next election in December, parliamentary election. So I have been active in politics, and also I'm an advisory member of ICD.
Right, that's nice.
Exactly. Yeah, I have been here for the conference, etc. So it's very happy to be again here.
And you are familiar with the place also because
a little bit.
Yes, so it's really nice to come to a place that you are very familiar with. Just new faces, but it's the same ambience.
Yeah, exactly.
So we are very happy to have you here and to join us for this year's conference. Before anything else, I understand that there's lots of French countries surrounding your country. Exactly. And so what challenge does that pose in regards to your relation on the continent? You know, language, trade, economy, and in your experience and of course in what you've seen, what?
And also, if I may add, like I was like reading about the statistics of literacy rate, and it's around 62. But right now, the Creole Portuguese is one of the highest spoken tongue there, and just like 12% of the population speak like formal Portuguese. So this question, it's aimed like to know what is the prospect of the Guinea-Bissau in terms of determining any official language to improve the literacy rate.
Yeah, you know, we have been Guinea-Bissau is a small country, very small country in the West Africa, but we belong to two communities in West Africa. One is UEMOA, is a economic and monetary union with 8 countries. Those 8 countries, 7 speak French, and only Guinea-Bissau speak Portuguese. Okay, we have a common policy. We have the same currency. We have one central bank for 8 countries. We have one parliament, actually. And also we belong to another community, bigger, is ECOWAS, where Ghana also is a member. And the ECOWAS is about 350 million people. It's a very big market for West Africa. UEMOA is about 100 120 million. Okay, yeah, is a interesting market also. So we must cope. You know, the population in those countries, we cannot say that you are static. We are moving. We have the border, common borders. So you can find one ethnic group in another country and the same in the other country. So there is no problem of cohabitation. And the people in this case use most the ethnic language than the official language. For example, if you go to Guinea-Conakry, is a French-speaking country. You go to Senegal also, but you can find a community like Pel, Fulani, in those countries, and so you can exchange. But on the term of government, at the level of administration, public administration, what is interesting for Guinea-Bissau, most of people speak French.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
We speak Portuguese, but a lot of people speak French, so you can speak French, no problem. Because we need to exchange in terms of commercial, the free movement of personnel in those countries is one of the policy and is applicable. You can go to Senegal to find very big community of Guinea-Bissau, and the contrary also. For example, you can find in Guinea-Bissau a lot of community from Senegal, Cote d'Ivoire, etc. So practically you are the same people. And one thing interesting, I remember when we are fighting against colonialism, to liberation, our former leader,
Amigo Cabral.
He has a very good relation with Kwame Nkrumah in that time. So if you look our flag, it's practically the same.
Exactly, most African countries.
It's the same with a black star or also all this for Guinea-Bissau.
Red, yellow, green.
Yeah, because in that time we received also a lot of help from Ghana in terms of political support in our struggle against colonialism, against Portugal. So in terms of literacy, we don't have such kind of problem that the language is the barrier.
I see. Okay, because also I was reading like some reports that usually the young generation, they are looking forward to the French language as a language to unite the region, and also it's the language which will bring them more perspectives and more opportunities.
No. You know, it's because we are surrounded by French-speaking countries, so we need to do trade.
Yeah. It's the lingua franca. That's so cool. Okay.
So that's I know in West Africa, so we have Portuguese, we have French, and then we have English as well. So is it like mostly difficult trying to establish trade relations, economic relations, even political friendships, you know, with a continent, I mean, with a region that, you know, has all these three languages in there? Is it mostly difficult?
It's a little bit difficult, but the businessmen, they don't care about this. Because if you see this, why China have a very commercial relation with Africa, but nobody in Africa speaks Chinese. Yeah, you see. So the business is the business. What we need, in terms of population, we have practically the same population. They speak. You go to Nigeria, there is a very big community, Fulani community also. You can find Fulani in Niger, in Burkina Faso, Senegal, Mali, and Guinea-Bissau. So they have no problem about the trade.
Okay, I see. Perfect. Yeah, I think this question is
just before we switch to our Portuguese audience for him to ask the question. I just want to understand. We talked about ECOWAS, and we talked about the AU. Yeah. You know, regions belonging to a bigger. Exactly. So we've all gone through the turmoil. We've all gone through the political unrest. Exactly. Peace and security. You know, even intertribal border region conflicts and all that. Yes. I'd frame the question in two parts. During your time as leader of, you know, the country, in serving in that respect, what are some of the challenges and the problems that you went through with regards to that, and then now, after you've left office, what do you think are some of the issues in the way forward?
I think the big problem for West Africa is the terrorism. You know, since Gaddafi, they killed Gaddafi, a lot of problem, insecurity in Africa, in West Africa, become growing. You can see in Niger, Nigeria, Burkina Faso, Mali, and it's very dangerous situation, security problem. So I think we must focus to solve those problems. If not, democracy cannot work.
Yeah.
Because people need to have security, to live in peace. If you don't have peace, like in Mali, you have a coup, in Guinea-Conakry, you know. But even in those countries, which you have a coup d'etat, if you ask the population, do you prefer to have election now or to solve my problem of security? They will tell you, I prefer you to solve my security.
Okay.
Because if you go to the election, if you don't solve those problems, you cannot be quiet. Because terrorism every day is increasing in West Africa. You see in Mali, practically all the north of Mali is taken by terrorist group. And how the population in this area, how they live. There are no school, no hospital. In Burkina Faso is the same also. So I think in West Africa, one of the big challenges is the security. If we don't solve this, any kind of democracy we want to implement, it will fail.
Okay. Because of the security reasons.
Yeah, because those head of state, those who win the election, those government there, if they cannot solve those kind of problems, insecurity will come. You will continue not have school, electricity, roads, etc., etc. So this is the big challenge we are facing.
Okay. And just one last one before we switch. You mentioned about security, and so that brings to mind use of hard power for political reasons. So now cultural diplomacy is now all about trying to combine and using soft power in advancing international relations. And so coming from a continent that we are rich in culture, so cultural diplomacy, using soft power, our cultural elements to advance our various international relations activities and relations with the world. Just briefly, how can soft power and cultural diplomacy help Africa, progress and attain world peace and development?
I think cultural diplomacy can play a very big role for the security and the peace and the democracy. You know why? Because since 19, when democracy came, all African countries think that, okay, with democracy we will solve all our problems. But what appeared? The new political party, the new leaders, corrupt leaders, they begin to use ethnic groups for the purpose of the elections. So I think cultural diplomacy can play a very big role to show, because we have a lot of ethnic groups in our countries, to show them that we can live together, we can work together, and the soft diplomacy is very, very, very important. Sometimes foreigners, they don't see this. If Europeans, they said, okay, they are organizing election, this is very good, they are doing, but internal problem is still there. And I think with diplomacy, cultural diplomacy, we can try to fix a lot of problems internally in Africa. We are talking about immigration in Africa. A lot of people are immigrated to Europe, etc. But internally, we have a lot of immigration. We never talk about this. When people immigrate a lot, they try to find where their ethnic group is there, they are moving there, you see. So, Africa, we have a diversity of ethnic groups, and so we can use this with a soft power and the cultural diplomacy to organize better our country.
Okay, so we have like 5 minutes, so then like I will try to be like really brief, yes. But it's like about the past 20 years when this group was like more intensified and the global South talks it was like more straight or linked, like as Brazil and South Africa we were under the IPAS, and then it turned out to be the BRICS. So we want to know, like, how do you see this dialogue of the global South trying to strengthen, and how does Guinea-Bissau sees that as an opportunity to have a less of a dependency on these like neo-colonialism from the ex-powers, from the EU and also from the US. O senhor acha que nesses últimos anos, com a liderança ou com o surgimento do Brasil no âmbito desses intercâmbios de tecnologia na área da savana em Moçambique, nas fábricas de retrovirais na Guiné-Bissau, o que você acha que vai ser importante e que seria de muita precisão para a Guiné-Bissau e que seria feita de uma maneira sem contrapartida? Eu sei que é um pouco fácil dizer que é sem contrapartida, mas eu acho que o Brasil fez esses investimentos assim e que não foram pedido nada em troca, a não ser o nosso intercâmbio de relações e um tipo de reparação histórica.
Sim, eu penso que o papel do Brasil é muito importante na África, sobretudo, quando você vê que muita imigração no século passado da África para o Brasil. Portanto, o Brasil continua a ter uma ligação muito forte com a África. Mas o que é importante é pertencer às organizações. Portanto, o Brasil pertence a uma comunidade dos países que falam português, a Guiné-Bissau é membro. E também nós estamos muito contentes de ver o Brasil num projeto muito mais grande como é o BRICS. Portanto, o Brasil é uma potência. Eu lembro-me quando o presidente Lula esteve no poder. Ele foi a Guiné-Bissau, foi visitar o ECOWAS, foi visitar o EMOA. Portanto, ele fez muito para a aproximação do continente africano, portanto, e o Brasil. Isso projetou muito a presença do Brasil no mundo. Mas a Guiné-Bissau, como parte, portanto, da comunidade dos países que falam português, e ao mesmo tempo do continente da África, nós pensamos que Guiné-Bissau podia ser uma porta de entrada para o investimento do Brasil, tanto no continente africano, sobretudo na África Ocidental. A África Ocidental é um mercado de mais de 350 milhões de potenciais consumidores. Isso é um mercado grande. Portanto, mas penso que o mais importante é a estabilidade. Sem a estabilidade não há investimento, não há nada. Portanto, os países africanos têm que trabalhar, portanto, para ter mais estabilidade. A democracia tem de funcionar, mesmo se não é nos moldes europeus, mas a democracia, todo mundo pensa na democracia no continente africano, mas a forma de levar essa democracia, portanto, que é talvez um bocado diferente, porque a democracia não é só organizar eleições, há outras coisas, portanto,
manter
a transparência, luta contra a corrupção, uma série de coisas que devem ser tomadas em conta, sendo direitos humanos, e não aquilo que nós chamamos, portanto, golpe constitucional. Portanto, você está no poder e quer mudar a Constituição para ficar lá mais tempo. Tudo, não é só golpe militar, mas golpe constitucional também é muito perigoso. Portanto, a mensagem que eu queria passar é que nós temos que trabalhar em termos de comunidade. A África tem que ser unida. A África tem uma agenda 2063, portanto, que deve ser implementada. As organizações subregionais devem funcionar para que a África possa, de fato, ter uma força e poder avançar no seu desenvolvimento. Muito obrigado.
Agora eu vou pedir para você dar uma última palavra em inglês, agradecendo, e I will shortly try to sum up. He was talking about BRICS dialogues with Guinea-Bissau and also to Africa, mainly about Brazil. He said that it could have been like very like a good way of trying to bring Guinea-Bissau as this entry for the whole continent, and also because we have a lot of common things, our population, our culture, and this force of the global south could be like expanded by these mutual connections and talks. So now I would like you to say like some short or brief message to end this talk, and we would like to thank you very much.
So we'd like your short conclusion, one in Portuguese briefly and then one in English, so that we sum up our discussion with you.
Portanto, para finalizar, nós agradecemos bastante ao ICD, que é uma instituição muito credível, e conheço esta instituição já há muito tempo e tem feito muitos trabalhos importantes para o desenvolvimento da diplomacia cultural. E eu penso que os estudantes vão aprender, os profissionais que estão vão aprender bastante coisa e vão poder aplicá-lo. Porque eu acho que nenhum problema deve ser resolvido por via de força, tem que ser via diplomática, na mesa que devem ser resolvidos.
Good job.
I would like to thank ICD for the job that has been done. It is a credible institution. Diplomacy, cultural diplomacy is extremely important for us today, and the war is now with a big trouble. We are facing the problem of migration, the war, etc., instability. I think your students here and the professionals, you have a very big role to play in your respective countries' organization in order to help to develop our institutions. And I think never should be solved by the war, by force. All should be solved by the diplomacy at the table. This is very important. Okay. Thank you again.
All right, thank you so much. So,
obrigado.